I used to entertain myself reading up about conspiracy theories and things like that. I was open to a lot of them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I believe things either one way or the other. I mean, to put in perspective, this is where I stand. I've always been the kind of person that it's not that I didn't trust anybody or any situation, but I did have to stop and ask, how reliable was the source? Would the source lie? Was there a reason to lie? I just like to keep an open mind. Things like, say, I'm not a flat earther, let's put it that way. Not at all. That's ridiculous. Don't really believe in aliens. I'm not sure about cryptids and things like that. I'm open to it. I have some belief in like ghosts and things like that. Some, as far as like mental powers and things like that, and magic and stuff. I'm open to it, but I'm not really what I would call. I'm not knee deep into that. I do have some belief as far as some numerology, but I think that's a lot of that's coincidence. Well, I don't really believe in coincidences, but I think you can just find things if you're looking for it. I do believe in astrology, but it's such not an exact science because people have pushed it aside. We've had over the years, and probably that would include even going so far as centuries, you've had religious people push it aside, and you've had non-religious people push it aside. So it's not really been focused on too much. So that's where I stand on with a lot of that stuff. As far as the moon landing goes, I'm kind of middle of the road on that, kind of leaning towards sounds like bull crap. There's just too much going against it. I certainly don't believe the story of what we were told about things like 9/11 at all. But I'm not trying to focus on that sort of thing too much on this. This particular video, since I'm always striving to keep these short and never managing to do it, a lot of people are paranoid about, I don't really want to say paranoid, but just for lack of a better term. It occurs to me that a good example of a group I'm trying to talk about would be the Freemasons. A lot of people have theories, conspiracy theories, so to speak, about them. You can have beliefs about the Republican Party and the Democratic Party and all that. But here's where I sit on that. I think people jump at shadows a little bit too much. You got to be logical about this. For example, let's just take the Freemasons. People look at it as sort of a evil sort of group, and it might be. I'm not ruling that out. But the notion that every single person who has ever been a Freemason is completely in league with that is just a little bit hard to swallow. And honestly, it would be harder for them to do. It's just too much trouble. It's not worth it. And that kind of sort of plugs into the whole Democrat and Republican Party thing. You need to have people, if you're going to make this corrupt organization work, you have to have people who believe in their hearts that it is a good organization, that are part of it. It's a lot easier to do that than to hope everyone is a good actor and can not slip and mess up. And that's kind of coming to light about the Republican Party because you have these people getting voted out or having to quit or getting ran out one way or the other. And it shows you those are people who at one time really believed in it. And they, unfortunately, and it's going to stick onto them through history, they helped drag people into that corrupt cult because they believed in it. And because people believed in them. But they weren't it doesn't mean they were a willing tool. They believed in it themselves. There's even been people who've done that with Scientology, where they've gotten people into it and they left, and then that person stayed, and it just wrecked them. And I think that's true of the political parties. I think that's true about the Freemasons. I think it's a little bit hard to swallow to think every single one of them is some kind of servant of Satan. It's just, it won't work as well to do it that way. It's too hard to do, and it's less convincing. You have to have people who you can really believe. That's why with the Democrats and Republicans, you can watch some of the speeches. And even now with me knowing better, I could watch a speech, I'm sure they could pull one off, where it's like, that almost convinces me, almost. Now, I know better now, but I went back and forth with these political parties a whole lot. And it just finally occurred to me, this is what they're good at. This particular person might believe in it, but that doesn't mean that it's not an evil organization. We got some politicians that are running in Tennessee, and some of them appear to be genuine, but the groups they're a part of, I mean, where's the future in it? So, that's just that conspiracy theory about these organizations. You could look at a lot of them. I'm sure there's many more than that. But it's mainly I keep hearing things about the Freemasons, and people doing all these hand signs. To me, and I'll just throw this out here too as sort of a bonus, it's kind of off subject as far as that goes. But people look at the Freemason thing, you got that symbol. Let me look it up here. Kind of got it in my mind here. But, because there's this, sure, yeah, there it is. That sort of thing right there. Compass and protractor type of thing, whatever it is. And that's where people will point out that you'll see people doing this a whole lot. Or doing this. And it also has to do with that eye thing in the back of the dollar where they'll cover up one eye and do things like that. People won't get steals of that and think I'm part of it. But what I find is funny is people have these symbols, because all these symbols can mean something else. Like you see people doing this type of thing a whole lot. And this, oftentimes people do this to mean okie dokie or okay. And it does kind of look like an okay, thing. People have done that for decades. I don't know how long, but I don't know, at least as long as I've been alive, at least. And, they had the Trump people and all that doing it, and they're saying, oh, it's like a white power thing. That's like the P, and then that's like the W. I think it's, and I think this happens a whole lot. They hide things behind other things, There's another layer that people are missing. So, for example, when they do that sign, people are like, oh, it just means okay. And you're supposed to look behind that and think, no, he means white power. No. There's another thing where people do this. See, this makes a 6. And when you do this, that makes 3 6s on top of each other. So it's also a devil sign. And they had this I love you thing that people are doing a whole lot, which is also a devil sign. And there's not too many people that do this naturally. I mean, and this is the way you would do it, by the way. This is what I find funny. Now, if you notice, rolling this around, you see my thumbs are relaxed. I find it funny when they do it down here like this, and their thumbs are just smashed up against each other. That's not comfortable. And especially me having some arthritis. But you would think you would do this, you'd put your hands down, and they'd be down at your lap. They'd still be relaxed. Your thumbs wouldn't be smashed into each other, which I find a little odd. It's like they're deliberately trying to make a sign of some sort. Trump does that a lot. But I am a little bit suspicious of people throwing those signs out. And I have even seen, that's what's the beauty of it is, because a lot of people throw those signs out and don't mean nothing about it. People will just gesture like this. I've seen Massey do it. I've seen a guy that seems like an honest guy, a little strange, but seemed like an honest guy. His name slips my mind at the moment. I think he's running for something in South Carolina. South Carolina, North Carolina. Bald guy, it's all the time adjusting his tie and all that. It's weird. I don't know why he does that with every video. I guess it's a cue to the camera person. But he does these kind of hand gesture things. And again, it might not mean anything. That's the beauty of it. They hide one layer behind another layer behind another layer. Now you look at the Alex Jones conspiracy thing where he got in so much trouble. Where this, these shootings happened, and the gist I get of it, unless I'm misunderstanding something, is he was either denying it happened or even denying that these people even existed. And what's funny is if you look at the reporting of the whole situation, it did come off as odd. But there's this thing, and people look, you see this term a whole lot about a false flag. I use another term, it's called a false flag. The way that would happen is, you have these shootings all the time. What you would do, if you're the government agency behind this, is you would set up some sort of a shooting to happen, or allow it to happen, or something like that. And then you would make the reporting around it odd, just suspicious, it's weird. Everybody's behavior is strange. Questions, unanswered questions, and what that does is it makes the people that are prone to conspiracy theories extra suspicious, as it should. But then they go the wrong direction and assume that it's because, it didn't happen at all. No, they baited you into thinking that. And my theory has always been so that if they get enough people saying that, thinking that people are, every time something like this happens, it's people crying wolf, eventually they can just take people out. And nobody will believe it. They can just start wiping out areas. And people just say, those people never existed. And it's scary how you can even manage to do that these days anyway. I'm sure there's going to be more fake alien nonsense coming out. You should definitely look into some conspiracy theories if you get the chance. Was it Blue Beam or something like that, where they're supposed to be feigning all these miracles? I expect something like that will be more and more of those things will be coming out. It's gotten so bad that it's kind of plugs into it. You don't know what's real anymore. Like these two guys, what was it? They were joking about something. I think it's something about Trump, pretty sure. And these guys were saying, he's got the best health ever. And it's like, I couldn't tell if they were sarcastic or not. Could not tell to save my life. I think they were being sarcastic. I don't know anymore. It's just, you can't tell what's reality anymore. It's gotten so nonsensical that you feel like you're losing your mind. That's why you got to check out of it occasionally. Go read a book. Cut this crap off every now and then. But you have to keep up with it for sure. But that's just my thoughts on that. Because the cover of some of these organizations, and it kind of plugs into this other thing too, where it seems like a lot of celebrities that die, they'll come up with some little story about them, that they were such and such of a pervert or this or that. And I feel like there's a theory, there's a plot behind that. It's to make you think that everybody is, that it's super duper common, so that people these days they're doing it can look normalized. And that type of behavior should never be normalized. Now, I'm sure there's some people long ago did some things they shouldn't have done. But I feel like a lot of this is coming up. There's so many people that's been accused, and I think it's a plot. They want, because the establishment, let's just put it that way without being any more specific, they're big into some perverse things. That's obvious with the whole Epstein thing. Not a single arrest in the United States. People obviously guilty. Obviously. Not a single arrest. No questions. Nothing. No plans to. I mean, do you really have to be that paranoid to think something is crazy there? And you know, all these mystery attempted assassinations that, if you believe it, you probably believe in unicorns. Just a bunch of distractions. So that's kind of the same sort of thing that's going on, is to make you think everything is fake and you can't believe anything anymore or anybody. Some of the people that seem authentic are. Some of the people that are in situations that where everybody else was guilty might actually be innocent. And that right there is to kind of create a wedge to help some of the guilty people get off the hook. There's probably people that went and hung around with Epstein that didn't do anything. They shouldn't have been there, and I don't feel sorry for them. But that's to kind of help weasel the other people out. Because if any of them are innocent, that means the rest of them might be. That's the way that works. And these people, you know, decrying their innocence and begging people to believe them, they can be the convincing person that convincing face helps the rest of them get off the hook. So, again, that's my thoughts on that. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't know what the point of this is, other than to say that that's kind of the plot. Not everybody that was a Freemason was in with whatever they may be doing. If you think there's a Republican or a Democrat that seems authentic in their beliefs, they might be. I don't know if you'd do any good supporting them, but they might very well be. That's the best tool for those agencies, is to have real people who really believe in it. They drag the followers in, and then they either corrupt them or they throw them away. That's the way that works. So this did run on longer than I meant to. But that's just the notion on those. Because I think you're going a little far by thinking that every single... I've had an uncle. I think I've worked with several Freemasons. They're pretty common. I don't think they're part of some weird government conspiracy. Okay, I'm sorry. This is Tennessee. Some of these people live out in the dang woods somewhere. They're not part of any weird... Well, they are part of one, but they're not specifically in with it, is what I'm saying. They don't know what's going on. We've got a storm coming, so I'll go ahead and cut this off. That's just, that's it for now.